Welcome to the From My Stand podcast with Matt Hinkle. Whether you are an avid hunter, a novice, or someone interested in the sport, Matt has a unique perspective to share. Sit back, relax, and kick your boots up as Matt shares what he's seeing from his stand.
Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us today. I'm your host, Matt Hinkle. And in season 2 of our podcast, we are talking about the year in the life of a hunter. Well, it's April now. And so, if you're like me here in Southern Ohio, there's 4 big game animals that I pursue through the course of a year. The calendar year starts right where we are right now. The first game animal that we hunt in a calendar year is turkey. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Then when we get to late August and September, it's dove and squirrel. We'll have episodes about that as we get closer. And then, of course, starting in about the first or second week of October, bow season for white-tailed deer. And then in late November, it's gun season. And so that's kind of the year of a life and a hunter here in Southern Ohio. But it's April, which means it is time for turkey season. So if you're like me, you're getting ready for turkey season. We're going to have several episodes over the next several weeks about turkey hunting. In fact, I'm going to be doing a full-fledged interview with a very successful turkey hunter. I can't wait for that episode to air in just a couple of weeks. So stick with the podcast, and you'll be seeing that in just a couple of weeks. We've got a great turkey hunter that we're going to have on the show. Today, I want to just go over some basic things as we get close to turkey hunting. Now, here in Ohio, let me go over some dates real quick. I'm in the southern zone in Ohio. So here's how it goes. Today, the day we're filming this, is April the 1st. Now, this is all true, not an April Fool's joke today. But on April the 12th and 13th, that's a Saturday and Sunday, that is youth turkey season. It's for 17 and under, and it's all-day hunting, April 12th and 13th. Then on Saturday, April the 19th, through April the 27th, in the southern zone of Ohio, where I am, that is the general turkey season, and the legal hunting hours are sunrise to noon, 12 p.m. No hunting in the afternoon or evening. Then on Saturday, April the 28th, through the end of the season, which is May the 18th, that is all-day hunting, sunrise to sunset, for hunters of all ages. So that's just a little bit about the dates. Now, I've got some of my turkey hunting equipment laid out here on the table, and I want to show it to you and go through some of it with you and talk about it for just a few moments. Today has been a big day for me getting ready for turkey season. I patterned my shotgun, and I'm going to show you the results of that shoot, and we'll talk a little bit about patterning a shotgun. And then in one of our weekly extras, you can check out the actual shooting. We're not going to show you that in this week's podcast, but you can check out one of the weekly extras and you can see the actual shooting. All right. First of all, when you're turkey hunting, you need to plan on full camo. Now, it's going to be springtime, so it could be chilly in the mornings, warming up in the afternoon. So you're just going to have to kind of look at the weather forecast to see how warm you should dress. But whether it's warm or chilly, you need to be head to toe camo when you're hunting turkeys. They have a really, really sharp eye. Just like you have to beat a deer's nose, you have to beat a turkey's eyes, and they can see you if anything isn't right. So you're going to need to have a camouflage hat. You're either going to need to have a face mask or a net, or paint your face. A lot of times I paint my face. Then you need to have your whole torso covered in camo, hands covered in camo, have some camo gloves, pants, and, all the way down to the bottom of your feet. I didn't bring the camo out to show you because you'll just have to kind of assess your own situation with that. But I do think it's a good idea to have a turkey vest. This is one that I've used for about 5 years. It's an old Tom turkey vest. It has a pad to sit on. Also, it has places to keep your calls. And there is also a storage area in the back where you can actually put a bird if you kill one. So a good turkey vest is, I think, a must, but, they're really handy. So I wanted to show you that. We're going to be talking about calling in some of the other episodes, but I use a Slate Call. I had a medical condition back in 2010 where I experienced partial facial paralysis. And so I cannot use a mouth call. Now, a lot of people use mouth calls. They work great. I just can't use them. So for me, the next best thing, now a lot of guys use box calls as well. Those work great. But what I'm really comfortable with and what seems to work best for me is a Slate Call. So I'm going to have the camera come in and show you just a little bit about this. So you might see that on the slate, there's some fingerprints and there's some scuff marks. I don't know how well you can see that. Before you start a calling session, you need to use like a little Brillo pad, what I've got here. A lot of calls come with it. If your call doesn't come with it, you need to get one. Now, get a non-metallic one. You don't want to scratch your slate up. But you need to take that and just kind of smooth out, buff out the surface of your slate so that it is nice and clean. I always like to start a new calling session with a nice clean slate. And then you're going to want to have some fine grit sandpaper to keep your striker, kind of rough out on the end. They make a much better sound. So, I'll just take a piece of sandpaper and kind of rough up the end of the striker. Now, when you're using a slate call, you don't want to put it in the palm of your hand where all the sound is muffled. You want to keep it out on your fingertips. Now, I'm wearing a microphone. I don't know how well the sound is going to pick up. This is not really a calling episode, but let me give you a couple of basic calls that you want to get used to. You want to hold the pot or the slate part of your call out on your fingertips with your non-dominant hand. Then with your dominant hand, you want to hold your striker like a pencil. That's usually the best way to do it. I tend to put the striker at about a 90-degree angle and then work it down. Here's a couple of the calls that you need to master. First, a simple cluck. This is a sharp downward motion down the call, and you're just trying to simulate the presence of a hen turkey. That's a cluck. It's just kind of a contented sound. It just simply means that there is a bird in the area. Another good sound to try to master is the purr. And the purr is just kind of dragging the striker down the pot, down the slate, and just kind of letting it do its own thing. It's going to kind of slide and pop. You get no sound when you go back up. So you're only getting sound when you come down with your striker. So it's okay to come down as far as you can, then go up. You're not going to make a bad note or a bad sound on the way back up. But a purr just kind of sounds like this. And that's not really a sound to call out for a mate. It's just a very contented sound. And what I like to do is to mix up a purr with a cluck. So you might cluck at the beginning and then purr. Purr, then cluck. Or put a cluck right in the middle of two purrs, or put a purr right in the middle of two clucks. That's a tongue twister right there. But you want to get different combinations. Make sure that your sound is not too predictable. If you hunt all day and you make the same sound all day long and you don't change it up, that's not going to sound natural. We don't, as human beings, we don't stand there and talk in the same voice tone and say the same words all day over and over again. So you want to give a little bit of variety to the vocabulary of the bird you're trying to mimic. So mixing it up just kind of sounds like this. You can move around to different parts of the pot. If you're making the striker in the middle of the pot, you're going to get a deeper, richer tone. If you get out on the edges, it's going to be a little sharper, a little more shrill. But again, just like people use different parts of their vocal cords, birds do the same thing. Okay, so the purr, the cluck. Then probably the most aggressive of all the calls is a cut. A cut is kind of an aggressive, excited sound. If you're not hearing any gobbles and you're trying to make something happen, you can use what did I just call this? I just lost the word that I was looking for. The cluck, the purr, and then the cut. That's what I had a brain freeze. I do these podcasts unscripted and in one take, so sometimes I lose my word. But a cut is an aggressive, excited sound, and sometimes it will get the attention of a sleepy bird. And so they just kind of sound like this. And so that sometimes if there's nothing happening in the woods, that's a good thing to do to get something going. And then the final call, and this isn't really, and I'm not an expert on calling, so I wouldn't even do an expert video on calling, but I've done enough to call birds in and kill them. But then the final one, and this is the one that you really need to get good at, and that is the yelp. If you can mimic a hen yelp, you can call toms in and kill them, and it just sounds like this. You get that sound by just doing little short ovals. Never take your striker off of the plate, and you'll get that two-tone hen yelp. And that's the one that generally entices that tom. But whatever call you're going to be using, you want to start working on those sounds and getting used to that. Now, I'm going to be interviewing a very good turkey hunter that's going to air in just a couple of weeks, and we'll talk to him more about calling strategy and tactics. What do you do if birds are gobbling? What do you do if birds aren't gobbling? What kind of calls tend to make things happen, and when should you stop calling? So we'll talk to him about that. He's far more the expert than I am. But then let's talk for just a minute about guns and ammo. Everybody likes to talk about guns. So this is the gun. This is my turkey gun. This is a Remington 870 pump 12 gauge. It has the synthetic green stock. It has the field barrel with the, that classic 870 screw-in choke system. And so what I've got is I've got a Remington extra full choke on this gun. It's more than full. It's called an extra full choke. And that's what I've used for the last several years in my turkey hunting. I've killed a lot of birds with it, anywhere from 20 yards out to about 50 yards. And this gun this is the gun I've hunted with exclusively since about 2020. And so I'm really happy with the results that I've had with this gun. Now, the ammunition that I'm using is Remington ammunition, and I'm using extra hard lead shot Nitro turkey. These are 3-inch magnums. They're number 5 shot, and it's 1 7/8 ounce, and is traveling at about 1,210 feet per second. And so this is a really, really effective ammo. I've killed 3 or 4 birds with this all the way out to about 50 yards, and it's done the trick. I've not lost a bird yet with this ammunition. So today I took and this is something you want to do before you go out and hunt turkeys. On this channel, we're going to be really big on hunting animals ethically. And ethical hunting means practicing with your equipment so that when you're out in the field, you can make an effective dispatching kill shot that quickly dispatches the animal. We don't want the animals to suffer. Everybody thinks that hunters are just bloodthirsty killers, and that's not really what we are. We're actually conservationists, and when we take a shot at an animal, whether it's a big game animal like a deer or an elk with a bow and arrow or a rifle, or we're shooting at turkeys with a shotgun, we want to make a clean, ethical shot so that the animal experiences minimal suffering. And so that requires practice, knowing the limitations of your equipment. I know I spent some time today on the range with this gun, and I know what it can do. I know what it can do at different ranges, so that when I'm out there, I can have confidence and I can know when to take a shot and when to pass up a shot. Now, let me show you the results of the patterning of this shotgun. If you're on one of our listening platforms, you may want to watch this part of the episode on a visual platform, because I'm going to show you the exact results of what we did today. I don't tend to pattern my shotgun any closer than 30 yards, because if it's closer than 30 yards with this gun, I know to aim right at the base of that neck, and I'm going to get it. This gun holds pretty tight, 30 yards or less, and I know I don't really need to pattern it. Now, this is a 30-yard shot. I don't know how well the camera is getting this, but this is a 30-yard shot, and I was aiming right about the base of this turkey's neck, and as you can see, I've got well more than a dozen kill pellets there. I mean, it's got him all up here around the nose and eyes. It's got 4 or 5 right there in the brain. I've got about 10 pellets hitting right in that spinal column. And so that's a pretty good shotgun pattern at 30 yards. So this gun, now, by the way, I will tell you this. My preferred range to shoot a turkey at is about 30 yards. I don't like taking shots a lot further than that. If you hit a turkey in the body with these pellets, I can tell you their body feathers it's like a suit of armor. It can be really hard, if not impossible. You're just not going to get them if you pepper their bodies with shot. But if you get them up here in this neck, around this spinal column, and up here around the brain, it's lights out. And it's lights out pretty fast. They might flop around for a few minutes. I've never had one not flop for a few minutes, or a few seconds anyway. But if you can hit them up here with a dense pattern of shot, 12 gauge going 1,000 feet per second, it's going to dispatch them quickly. That'll be a nice ethical shot. So I'm real happy with the 30-yard results. I'm pretty happy with the 40-yard result. This is the 40-yard result, and I've got a dozen killers here. And so I'll put it up there. Now, again, naturally, 10 more yards. The pattern opened up a little bit, but I've got them at the base of the neck. I've got several in the neck, and I've got about 5 in the brain. And so, this is a dead turkey at 40 yards. Now, when we do our interview with Mike in a couple of weeks, he's going to talk about where to aim. But I aim right at the base of the neck, and usually that puts a few in the neck, puts a few in the head, and it's usually plenty to quickly and ethically and humanely dispatch that turkey. Now, 50 yards. Let's see what it did at 50 yards. It was really opening up at 50 yards. I wasn't thrilled with this pattern, but I'm going to show it to you. We're just going to look at it honestly. This is a dead turkey. Believe me, this is a dead turkey. You get him right in the neck there, right in the neck there. You got a couple in the neck right there, and then you got him in the brain. He's dead, okay? But I like a little more density. I'm going to call this gun a 45-yard or less gun. I would feel real comfortable shooting one at 30 yards. I would feel real comfortable shooting one at 40 yards. I'd feel comfortable out to about 45, 50. I'd start getting nervous. I'm not shooting that turkey past 50 yards because, again, I don't want to wound him. I want to put him down, and I think that's what all ethical hunters are trying to get after. So anyway, it's April. If you're here in Ohio and you're a turkey hunter, it's the year in the life of a hunter. It's time to get busy. You'll be glad you turkey hunted if you get one. Man, those beards look great on the wall. The fans look great. It's cool to collect the spurs. I personally think a couple of things that I think about turkey hunting. Number one, I think it's just as exciting as big game hunting. When you've got a tom turkey responding to a call and he's coming in and your heart doesn't raise, your heart rate doesn't elevate a little bit, I don't even know if you're alive. I mean, that is an exciting, exciting moment. And then turkeys are great on the table. They make great table fare, and they make a really nice, ornate piece of decor for your house. When you get them, you can decorate with the spurs, with the fan, with the beards. Some people even do full body mounts, but they look really great. I think turkeys are just as exciting. I think they're more challenging than a lot of big game animals. I'm tell you, somebody said one time that a deer thinks every hunter is a tree stump, and a turkey thinks every tree stump is a hunter. Turkeys are really smart. They're crafty. They're hard to get, but they're worth the chase. It is definitely worthwhile when you get your hands on one. That'll be a proud moment. That'll be an exciting moment. Maybe you can take a kid. Ohio has a youth season. Take a kid out. Man, if you can show a kid a tom turkey coming into a call, you'll hook that kid for life. They'll be a hunter for the rest of their life. I can just about guarantee it. Well, anyway, this is just a little bit about turkey hunting. We're going to talk more about it. And check out our weekly extra. You can actually see the shots when we're patterning the gun. But turkey season 2025, it's coming up quick. Better get ready. This is a little bit about how you can do it. Well, thanks for joining us today. I'm your host, Matt Hinkle, and that's how I see it from my stand.
Thank you for listening today. Be sure to tell your buddies and follow us on your favorite podcasting platforms. Y'all take care.